Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be going through all the books that I read in October and November and just telling you what I think about them. I'm also going to be showing you my hopefuls for next month. I read The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. This book was not at all what I was expecting. I've never before read a book by Gabrielle Zevin. This was a literary fiction that follows this bookstore owner. He's kind of like a cranky guy. He's kind of been really going through it in his life. He lives in this like small town sort of vibe where there's like one bookstore. There is a romance in this book. Like that's one of the big things that I was wondering what's in it, because it like says it on the back and stuff, and it is a pretty big part of the book. This other thing happens to him, which I'm not gonna say it because it might be a spoiler, but it just says, but when a mysterious package appears at the bookstore, like he gets a package that he wasn't expecting and it changes his life. He goes from being this really like pessimistic, well he still actually like is super grumpy like throughout the entire book, but like not like charmingly so sometimes. Like it's like I really became so fond of his character. One of the most wholesome people, and I loved reading about him. I loved like the unlikely friendships and just like the friendships in general, the relationship in this. I thought it was just a really, really beautiful, amazing story. However, I am not always like a big literary fiction person. This one just like wasn't my complete cup of tea. Like it was like a little bit of a cup. I felt close to the characters at the same time as like I also feel like I could have felt even closer to them, but it felt like there was a little bit of a film, like you're watching the characters as they go through things. You're not like living through them, but like you're not like experiencing things with them all the time. It still felt like effective writing in the way that it like made me feel things. Just a little bit lacking that quality that makes me completely like go into a book and like feel like I'm just a part of it. I read Blade of Secrets. This is a YA fantasy book. This one took me by surprise. I was not expecting to love it as much as I did. My brother was choosing some of the books that I read this month. This was a November read. The romance in this, like the main romance, is like one of my favorite YA romances, just because if you want like a really wholesome but like just so sweet and enjoyable to read about, I just loved it so much. There's just something about this book that I'm just so like such a fan of. The main character in it has a lot of anxiety about things. She has a lot of trouble like being in social situations. Like she really ends up like having a lot of character growth and challenging herself in this book, but it's still like really hard for her to like do a lot of things. I loved it so much. It was so nice to read about. I really liked the found family in it. I liked how in the adventure they went on, like they went to like so many different places, but I feel like it was like paced really well to where I was just flying through it. I feel like it was like a pretty unique like storyline. Not that it was unique and like it's never been done before, but it was like it had concepts I'm familiar with, but I feel like it's just something that's not done like a bunch. So it's like a cool new type of story from the ones that I've like been reading recently. There's this magical blacksmith and she like makes these weapons where she infuses magic into them. This one warlord what is it called when I forget what it's called. Oh, commission. It's called commission. She wants her to commission her. Okay, I don't know if I don't know what's up with that word in me today, but it's just not happening. She wants her to commission her a magical weapon. She finds out that the warlord has like really bad intentions with this weapon, so she's trying to get it away from her. So she and this like found family are running from, they're not like found family yet, but they're like running from her, trying to basically keep this magical weapon out of the warlord's hands. One Dark Window. I really enjoy this book. This is about a kingdom that was taken over by like this magical mist that everyone has to wear like charms, or if they walk into like the forest in the mist, they'll like get this sickness. The sickness is basically you get magical powers, but then you start to degenerate. Having the powers has a really negative side effect. The mist is there because this king from like a bunch of years ago made a deal with the like forest spirit or the nature spirit to get these magical cards. There's like this magical deck of cards that exists, and people use them, like mainly like rich and royal people use them to wield magic without having the sickness, but there are also a lot of infected people who they try to just kill right away. The main girl in it is infected, and her thing is that she can absorb cards when she touches them, and she has like one of the cards is a nightmare card, and she has like this nightmare monster living in her head. I actually kind of love the relationship. I actually kind of love the relationship between like the monster and the girl, because I feel like they're like kind of friends. But yeah, I overall really enjoyed it, and I did start reading the second one, and that is what I'm reading right now. Serpent in the Wings of Night. I really loved this one. This is a vampire romantasy. This is about a human who is the daughter of a vampire king. He like found her in this one place that was destroyed by vampires, and he picked her up and took her in as his own, and everyone was like, why did he do that? So you're kind of like wondering that throughout the entire book. She ends up going into this competition to compete with other vampires. She's essentially like trying to prove herself as like being worthy to those other vampires, especially because since she's like the heir to the king. In these like games and competitions that she's in, she has an ally that she ends up getting, but it's definitely, this is like a very enemies to lovers situation. I thought it was a really solid romance. It also has like a plot twist. Maybe it has a couple of them, I don't know, but it definitely like surprised me at a lot of points. It's one of those books where like actually like a lot of these books are like this. The main character goes through so much that you're like, they should really be dead by now, but somehow they aren't. Next up we have Powerless. I really love this one so much. I was having so many like reactions to this one as I was reading it. One of my favorite things in this book was definitely the romance, because it is a romantasy. It had all those moments that built up in just the right way, and like at each different time where you just like, it comes together and it's just all amazing, and you're just like, wow, like every bit of that was entertaining. The tension off the charts. I love the enemies to lovers in this. Also, I love a good rebellion. I love a good rebel story in a fantasy book and a fantasy world, so that was really fun. The only thing I think I said about this one was that like I wish the fantasy world was a little bit more like built up or whatever, but overall I would just recommend this one. A quick mention to this comic book that I read, Miles Morales Straight Out of Brooklyn. This is another one that like my brother chose for me to read. I enjoyed it, but I also think that maybe I just don't like the comic book style as much as like a regular book style. Oh, also this did make it to where I watched both of the movies that are out. I think there's only 2 out, right? Because yeah, I think I already checked, because I actually love those movies so much. This got me to watch those movies. They're actually some of like my comfort movies now. Like I want to rewatch them again and again, that sort of vibe. So if you haven't watched those movies, I recommend it. Those are all the books that I read in those months. I didn't really read that much compared to like how I usually read in those months. I've just been going through like a massive reading slump, so I'm really trying to like fight through it right now. First off, I don't have this book with me right now, but I'm going to read Iron Flame and A Curse for True Love, those 2 books. Iron Flame is the second book to Fourth Wing, and I really enjoyed Fourth Wing. I'm excited to read Iron Flame. I'm hoping that I get out of my reading slump and I just get on it. I cannot wait to start reading about those dragons again and their owners, who have a nice little enemies to lovers romance in the first one and then continues on in this next one. A Curse for True Love, I'm just like have been so excited about for so long, and then now that it's time and I have it in my hands, it's like I cannot get myself to read it. But it is one of my favorite like YA romances, fantasy romances that I've ever read. Those books are just so good, at least the first 2 that I've read so far, and I just really like the characters. I love Jax, the Prince of Hearts. He truly is one of my favorite characters and love interests in a book. Like he's just so fun to read about. It is like a spin-off series of the Caraval series, which I also really love. So I just like really have hyped up that book so much in my head. Maybe that's why I'm like holding, I don't know. But I'm going to read it soon, and I'm going to probably like it. Who knows? Next, this is a second chance romance, Ghosted. If I feel like I've said this exact thing before, you know, I'm just gonna keep doing it. Second chance romances are definitely one of my favorite types of romances, and so many people recently have been telling me that this one is like really good, so I definitely want to give it a chance. It's been on my radar for a long time now. I just felt like, you know what, enough's enough, I'm just gonna get it. Dear Amelia, this one, okay, I'm trying to decide if I should do this, but I'm thinking of reading this one during the 24-hour challenge that I'm doing right now, because I feel like this is a good one to read during that because it's so small. This is a childhood friends, like they know each other in childhood and then they reconnect and I think have a romance. Okay, I just have like a feeling that it's about time, because I feel like I've been seeing a lot of people read this series recently, like the Throne of Glass series, and this is like the Assassin's Blade, which is the one that I have decided to start with. I just got some of like 3 of the other starting books, so I feel like it's like time. It's that time. I am really excited because I am hearing like a lot of good things about these books, and I also just feel like I really love being obsessed with like a fantasy world, and a lot of people who read this sound like they just love it so much. Out on a Limb, this is a romance that seems super cute. I'm not quite in the mood like right now. If I would have to read this right now, I wouldn't really want to, but I'm hoping like eventually I want to read it because it does seem like such a sweet, good romance. I've heard a lot of good things and I want to give it a try. Okay, wait, these next two books are books that I'm definitely planning on reading December. Like, you could bet I'm probably going to read these, and if not, that's a little bit embarrassing because I am claiming that I'm going to right now. But I want to make like a dark romance video, like a dark romance reading vlog. I feel like that'd be really fun. Like, I haven't read a dark romance book in too long. Like, I miss it. I'm craving it. I want to read about those like toxic, morally gray men in these books because I know they're gonna be quite horrible probably sometimes. So this one is Haunting Adeline, and I've just heard this one's absolutely crazy. But do not fear, I am prepared. I am, actually, I don't know if I am, honestly. I don't fully know what it's about. I hear that he's kind of a stalker, the main guy in this, which I don't really think is like attractive at all, but at the same time, let's see what I think. Like, that's why I'm excited to do like a reading vlog for it, because I feel like I have no idea like what my reactions are gonna be or like what I'm gonna think about it. I think I'm just reading two in this video, and the other one will be The Predator. The Predator I heard was like really good, so I'm excited to read it. And honestly, I kind of forgot what this one's about. I think it's like a gang like dark romance. Like, there's like a guy who, I don't know, is like in crime and stuff. Oh yeah. In the dark underbelly of the mob, Tristan Kane. This is Tristan Kane? I've seen this guy's name all around. Wow, I'm finally gonna know what everyone is talking about because I feel like I've seen that name kind of a lot. Well, there you go. Very excited, and yeah, I feel like I'm just gonna have a great time reading all these books. Those are all of my December hopefuls. Let's see if I actually end up reading them, but you know, hopefully. Remember to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my videos. I post about books. Like, that's pretty much all I post about. I will also put like links to my different social medias in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.